Welcome to another episode Between Drafts. I'm Nathan.
I'm Nat.
And today we are, 5-6 days out from Husk being
5 days.
truly
Yeah,
in the world.
Yeah. Although when you're listening to this, it will already be out.
Yeah.
So you're traveling through time right now.
Yeah.
It's a lot like Recursion, the next book club book that
you
we're reading.
can see the before, how Nat was feeling, and then next week he'll either be really happy or really sad.
Really
and
sad.
We don't know which.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So speaking of Recursion, have you started it?
I'm reading the third
Sun Eater.
Empire of Silence.
this is gonna be your version of me with Dungeon Crawler Carl last month, where I just don't even get to the Sun Eater book because I needed to read all 7 crawler books.
Thankfully, I think I'm in a better spot because Recursion is fast, and the first Sun Eater was, to your point, slower.
Yeah. I started Recursion one night and got 20% of the way through, and then picked it up a second night and got to 40%.
Yeah.
And then the next day I woke up and said, I just got to finish this book today.
Wow.
Yeah. This was 2 days ago. And so I just blew off some work and finished the remaining 60% over the course of the day.
Dang,
I really liked it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll save more for the review, but it's interesting going through the Goodreads for the book and Blake Crouch's more recent stuff, because he had an earlier era which was more thriller-esque.
Yep.
And now he has his techno thriller era, and there's just all the fighting over which of the 3 books is the best. And a lot of people say it's Dark Matter, but I liked Recursion better.
This is great marketing.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People arguing over which of your 3 books are the best. Amazing, because then you have to read all 3 to be able to judge.
Make a decision. Exactly. Yeah. And I didn't realize this. Dark Matter came out in 2016.
My rather hot take was the book was decent.
Yeah. Dark Matter.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But and we can save some of this too. But I agree that where I thought Empire of Silence was too thick.
Yeah.
Dark Matter felt too thin at times.
100% agree.
And the staccato writing style started to wear on me.
It became predictable.
It became a little predictable, and it was too short. And then the solution at the end of Dark Matter, I really didn't like.
I didn't either. I was like, this is not a solution, actually. If this happened, it would just be utter chaos, and there would be no resolution.
Yes. it felt like he worked himself into a hole.
What is that? Something not.
Gordian knot?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. He realized he couldn't actually solve this, and so he had to kind of shunt in a solution.
Yeah.
And actually Recursion ends that way too, but a less annoying.
Okay, cool.
It's it's not a Deus Ex Machina because it's the character doing it, but it does feel like there needs to be a term for this in a sci-fi novel when it kind of abandons the scientific premise at the last minute to solve the problem.
Yeah, it becomes a fantasy book for 3%.
Yeah. For the resolution.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that more in 2 weeks.
Okay, 2 weeks. I got 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, Won't take long. I'm reading Upgrade now, which is the 3rd one.
Okay.
So then I'll have the full.
You'll be able to give us a true answer of which is the best.
Yeah, and the other interesting question I have with his writing, too, is there's 3 years between each of those books. So Dark Matter's 2016, Recursion's 2019, and Upgrade's 22, and he hasn't had a book since Upgrade. So I wonder.
It's time.
Yeah, it seems like it's about time, and I wonder where the rest of his time goes. I mean, I know he's had a few TV shows, and that sounds really critical, right? But it's they're not super thick books, so 3 years does feel like kind of a long. But I guess Andy Weir is on a 5-year schedule, so.
Sometimes, I think there's something to. It's a very different model, I think, because he's so big that when he does a book, it's probably this huge production. He has to go on tour for all this time and everything too.
That's a good point.
Second, maybe he just waits until he gets an idea he's pumped about, and that's why he does it that way.
Yeah.
The third thing I would think is maybe, I think we see a lot of humongous books that don't need to be humongous books.
That's true.
Empire of Silence should have been 25% shorter. The second and third one don't have that problem. They earn their thickness. But even the last Brandon Sanderson book, that thing could have been cut down 60%. I'd argue.
Yeah.
Even that series, I'm kind of maybe we should have stopped at book 3 because that would have been an amazing trilogy. And book 4 and 5 struggled a little more, in my opinion.
Well, there is that problem where once you're famous and influential enough, it's probably pretty hard to find an editor who will say no to you.
True. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you know, I'm still going to read the next 5 that Sanderson puts out, but it's going to be a decade.
Yeah. No, it'll be 15 years, won't it? Doesn't he say 3 years per Cosmere book? Yeah.
Well, it's going to be a decade before he puts out number 6. He said he's like taking a pause.
Oh my gosh.
Like book 5 was the end of the first of 2 acts.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So he's going to pause for 10 years and then it'll be 15 years to do.
Correct.
So he's going to be 85 when he finishes?
Is that right? I have no idea.
I think he's 50 right now. So he picks it up again. Oh, he'll be 75.
Yeah.
Okay, that seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his work rate, I believe he'll put him out. He's not Rothfuss. But there, you know, it might take longer to write a shorter book.
Yeah, because of all the paring down you have to do.
So maybe that's part of it too.
Could be it.
And he's in the traditional publishing world. Things move slower.
True. We'll interview him at some point. We'll find out.
That'd be great.
Dude, Dark Matter has 650,000 reviews on Goodreads.
That's amazing.
That's a lot of reviews.
He's doing something right.
He's doing something right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, if you assume 10% of people review the book that they read.
6 million. That's a lot.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, and standalone techno thriller too. Like that's not a mass. I wouldn't have thought of that as a massive market, but I guess thrillers are one of the biggest reading markets. And I liked your point in your very nice review for Husk on Goodreads that a lot of sci-fi novels are just thrillers with a little bit of science
They are
thrown in,
Yeah.
which is true, right? Like that is a lot of sci-fi books, especially techno thrillers.
near future stuff. I think.
Yeah. If it's not like a space opera style.
And those are just fantasy books disguised as sci-fi.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's another one, Altered Carbon, that does a good job of not falling into either of those camps. I actually had some fun today. I was using Gemini, Opus, and ChatGPT.
The new Opus?
The new Opus, Opus 4. And I put the whole manuscript of Husk into each of them. And I said, what books would you compare this to? What books and movies would you analogize this to if you were going to pitch it to someone?
Analogize. That's a word.
It's a good word.
Yeah.
And Matrix came up, obviously, because that's like the most obvious one. In the Silo series, because that's, I think, pretty well known right now, and it's got that like post-apocalyptic vibe to it. But it mentioned Altered Carbon too, which for some reason I hadn't had on my list before. But it's like the perfect analogy. Not exactly perfect, but it's a very good analogy.
Yeah.
It's a good book. It's a little weird. And I'd say it falls into a similar camp of Empire of Silence, maybe not as bad, where the middle could have been trimmed down by 30% and it would have been better. But the payoff in Altered Carbon is really good. And the payoff is, it has thematic similarity to the payoff in Husk. So it's kind of fun. The premise in Altered Carbon is that your mind and personality and everything lives on a chip.
Yeah.
And then you just insert that chip into a body, and they call bodies sleeves. And so when you like do interplanetary travel and stuff, you just send your chip. And then when you get there, you can like pick what body you slide into. Exactly. Yeah. And you can like buy, more premium sleeves and things like that. And so you don't really know, you can't judge who you're talking to based on like looks, because somebody could be changing the sleeve they're inhabiting and stuff. And you can wear a body out and just hop into a new one. It's a neat premise on identity. And so if your body dies, you don't die unless somebody destroys your chip. And so it's not really a crime in the same way to like kill somebody's sleeve, but destroying a chip that's
murder.
That's like worse than murder, basically, because you've, mostly ended death as long as you respect the chips. Cool premise.
It is a cool premise.
Yeah. And they made a Netflix series out of it. I don't know if it did as well, but I think they did 2 seasons. I haven't watched it, but the book was fun. Weirdest sex scenes of any book I've ever read. Just
that kind of makes sense.
So weird.
The chip idea and the sleeves.
Yeah. It really and it happens multiple times, and every time it's like somebody had to have told him that this was just weird.
Some baiter is like, "Hey, dude, like, you all good?"
Yeah. But anyway, Altered Carbon, great book. But yeah, we're 5 days out now.
Okay. So okay, let's break this down. You've done everything leading up until this point was on the pre-orders. Most everything.
All the focus was on my site.
Yes.
Yes. So I had my Shopify store set up, shop.nataliason.com, where I was selling the pre-order bundle for Husk, where you got the hardcover as well as the ebook and audiobook
for like $30.
For the price of the hardcover, $32
plus shipping.
And was selling that up until Tuesday.
Okay.
When I turned that off. And so you can still get the signed hardcover on my site. It just doesn't come with the digital versions bundled in. And I'll just keep selling it there because I make twice as much money per book if somebody buys it there versus Amazon.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And they get a signed copy instead of, a not signed copy. And so, what I kind of hope people do is they read it on Kindle and they really like it, and then they go buy the hardcover as the trophy. I think that's what a lot of people do with hardcovers now. That's what I do. Yeah. And it's great for me, right? And I think it's a good option to have there for people who are looking to support authors, because I'll look for that too, especially if it's an indie author. I'll look and see if they sell it on their site, and they often do. So yeah, before the deadline, sold 256 of the bundles on my site, which is great.
Yeah.
It was like a little over $8,000, I guess, in sales. And obviously I have costs, but the net costs weren't bad actually. So by buying in bulk, I paid about $14 per hardcover. And then another dollar or so of like packaging materials and things to ship it out, and then selling it for $32. So that profit would be $17, but the shipping I charged was $6 for most people, and my average shipping cost was closer to $8, which is fine because I guess I could increase the shipping cost to $8 to cover more of that, but like psychologically, $6 feels way less annoying than $8.
And the total would creep over 40.
Yeah, the total would get to 40, which when you see $40, it's like, okay, that's kind of a lot. But 38, I think you can be like, okay, I'm supporting them. Yeah. So I didn't mind eating those $2. So it came out to about $15 per book. And I think on Amazon I make about $7 per hardcover.
For the same price?
For the same price. So pretty good increase. And then, there's other factors like the time that I spend going to UPS, obviously, and signing books and things, but I kind of like doing that. Yeah. It's kind of fun.
It's also good marketing. I saw a lot of photos of you with a bajillion books.
Yeah, it is good marketing. And the personal touch is nice too. And, the other thing that I did is I designed these cards on Canva that use the same like server rack background as the book and a very similar font that just say like, hey, thank you so much for pre-ordering. Just a little thank you card. And then I put a QR code on it to review the book.
Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really smart.
Yeah. And so, they can't review it on Amazon yet. I mean, you can if you're listening to this, but
because
Amazon, you can't do it until the day it comes out. But Goodreads, you can do before it comes out, right? So like you and I and Cosette have already left some reviews on Goodreads. And when you look at a book that has a lot of PR behind it, like Evan Lakem's Angie Kills a King, it already had 100 Goodreads reviews before it even came out. Yeah. From beta readers and people they sent ARCs to.
Yeah. That's maybe a marketing thing we should break down in another episode, because I've seen that. Like, whoever's running his marketing, whether it's him, and I'm sure he's a good marketer himself, so I'm sure he's very involved, but they're doing a great job.
It'd be interesting to get him on and interview him. I've chatted with him a couple times on Instagram, so maybe we could reach out and ask, because they're doing a really good job. He had like 10,000 people with it on their want to read on Goodreads, and
he's doing like the PR book tour and everything. And I think those are more powerful to post the photos, and it's like very similar to what you're doing. Like it's great marketing to share about a book tour.
Totally,
if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. And I think it adds a lot of credibility to the book too. If you're on a book tour and you have photos of you doing readings and being in bookstores and things like that. I think he's doing an event with Joe Abercrombie.
Yeah, and Abercrombie's also another one who's done just an incredible job marketing his new book. Yeah. That I would say is more expected because he's very established, well-respected author who's written a ton of very good books. Whereas Evan Latham had, I think this is his first
debut
novel, and he's crushing the marketing. Like, great job.
Yeah.
It's making me want to read the book.
Yeah. And I'm surprised. It must be him doing a lot of it because they didn't do a hardcover.
Well, okay, this is one of my big pet peeves with traditional publishing is that they force debut authors to do hardcovers. Like, I'm not spending $40 on a debut author's hardcover.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'd be much more interested to pay the whatever they charge for an ebook or a paperback, but oftentimes those aren't even available.
Yeah.
Because they want people to buy the freaking hardcover.
Maybe it was intentional then. Like maybe he asked. I'd be curious to get his take on that too. Because to me, when I see a book coming out straight to paperback, that usually means it was a smaller deal.
Yeah, I agree. But I completely agree.
And so that's why I was surprised to see all the marketing effort behind it, because those feel
at odds,
mismatched. Yeah. But maybe it was intentional, right? Like you said, if it's the first in a series, maybe they're going to do the hardcover later. As the trophy. That would be an interesting way to do it, because people do buy special edition hardcovers for books they really like.
That would make a lot of sense.
I think so too. Yeah. What's that company? It's a UK company that does all these special bindings.
Broken Binding?
Yes.
They're really good.
They seem really cool.
Yeah.
I know Pierce Brown does a lot of work with them, and I think Ryan Cahill does too.
Yeah,
right?
And Abercrombie put out an edition of his new book through them.
Cool. Yeah, they seem to be blowing up. Saw
a thing. I think it was Brandon Sanderson talking about what he would do when negotiating and stuff. And it came out recently. He said he'd really push to keep the rights for all special editions. Like, don't give the publisher, whoever you're going through, those rights.
Yeah,
keep them, because they're some of the most profitable ways. And he can probably do whatever he wants. But I thought it was interesting. He was advocating for that for other writers too.
Yeah.
Which kind of implies that he thinks you can get that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, especially this idea of the physical books as trophies, which is becoming more of a thing. It's like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense to just give the mass market rights to the publishers, because that's what's going to go in the bookstores. That's what they're good at. They'll still make money, but you keep Kindle and special editions, and potentially do a separate deal for audio.
Yeah.
You know, that one, that seems like it's getting more popular and has a lot of upside too. I think Ryan Cahill sells his audio rights, but he keeps all of his print rights.
Yeah, I'd have to dig into that. I read on Twitter that he sold the rights to the series, maybe.
Oh, really?
Like the paperback hardback.
Yeah,
I need to look into it. I don't think he's talked much about it just yet, but
I imagine he'd get a crazy deal for it.
Yeah, I mean, deserved.
Yeah,
absolutely. So that's exciting. I love to see more and more of the like indie author does well, and then paperback hardback deal. That seems like the ideal. Like if things work out well, like that's the path. At least right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's definitely what I would want to do. I really want to know what Matt Dinniman got for the Crawler series, because I think he sold all 7 books at once for the paperback and hardcover.
Yeah, because we like kind of backed into the math. It would have to be a lot to make any sense.
Yeah. I'd be really curious to hear those numbers. I wish more people talked about their numbers.
Yeah, I get why they don't.
I guess.
Yeah, like for me, I've sold 0 books and made $0 through books. That's much easier to say, I would argue, than I've sold 250,000 books as a self-published author and made over $4 million through it over the last 6 months.
Yeah,
which would be something like Dinniman would have to say.
Yeah,
that I don't know. The perspective there is different. Yeah, and it would help other authors, but I'm not sure it would help him.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah, because I think people do like to have this illusion of authors as these like pure artists struggling, cabin in the woods, like barely scraping by. And then you look at the numbers on the best-selling authors, and it's like, oh, you're one of the highest paid creatives in the world. Good
and
for you.
Yeah, and it's a very power law industry.
Yeah, extremely power law.
So
those photos from Brandon Sanderson and Joe Abercrombie's tour, where Pierce Brown crashed
just hanging,
and then they're like playing in the arcade afterward. Something I loved about that.
I did too.
Yeah, Pierce Brown also has this like He's like a very fashionable dude.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of unfair.
It's a bit of a vibe.
Yeah.
Yep. I
Yeah.
had
It's
that
like,
thought too. Uh-huh.
like, I'm definitely straight, but like, it's not really fair that you can be that good at writing and that hot. Like,
Yeah.
how are you doing that exactly?
Yeah.
Is he married? Do you know?
I have no
Does he have
idea.
Kids?
Not
Does
a
he have family?
clue.
Yeah. Should look that up later. This guy- The dude's got to clean up on the book circuit if he's not. I'm just saying. Like,
Oh gosh. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. Yeah. Every book signing is just
yeah.
He's the most popular man in the room.
Oh, I'm sure. But yeah, so done with the site for now. And
Back to Husk.
Back to Husk. So done pushing the pre-orders on my site. And so one thing that I did through all of this is I had a URL, huskbook.com.
Sure.
And I mentioned it on here a bunch of times too.
Mm-hmm.
And I had Huskbook redirected to the Shopify store.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have it redirected to the Amazon listing.
Got it.
And the reason I did that was, one, it's way easier to remember huskbook.com than, shop.natalyson.com/product/husk.
Yeah, I'm not typing.
No way.
I'm not typing that.
Huskbook.com, you could totally type in. And when I wanted everyone to go to the Shopify store, I had it going there. Now it goes to Amazon. So that's where I'm sending everyone at this point.
Yep.
Like updated the link tree
Yep.
and all of that. And so now leading into launch, that's where people will be going. And that's been cool to track too, because on Kindle, so like KDP, I can see all of the pre-orders there, and that's over 50 people now, which is neat.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Ingram, I can see the pre-orders for the physical copies, and that's kind of fun to see too. So Kindle has had quite a few more pre-orders just because I talked about that one earlier.
I also think Kindle's super popular.
So popular. Yeah. And it's going to be in Kindle Unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in the Unlimited program, you can just like one click and it'll get delivered to your device on the day it comes out, and you don't have to pay anything because it's in Unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you are buying it, it's $5, right?
Right.
It's a much easier ask than $32.
Mm-hmm.
And then a number of paperbacks. I've been selling, I think it's like eight, and then another 2 hardcovers. So not huge numbers, obviously, but something.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, you haven't super pushed it.
No. I'll really push that next week.
Yeah. Launch day,
That
day
launch
after
day
kind of
and
thing.
that week. And so yeah, that I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting thing that I was talking about with Scribe this week.
And Scribe is Nat's pseudo publisher.
Yeah, pseudo publisher, the production company that made the book, was Amazon categories and which category to put it in. And
do you get to pick, or is Amazon?
You do.
Okay.
You get to pick, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And you get less control over paperback and hardcover. They'll like dynamically change those based on how it's performing relative to like other books in different categories, I guess. But on Kindle, you can change them however much you want. And I had set it to a few categories: techno thriller, post-apocalyptic, and dystopian. And they emailed me and they said, hey, we should think about changing your categories before launch, because a couple of them are like hyper competitive.
I bet thriller is very competitive.
Techno thriller is not too bad.
Really?
Techno thriller is not terrible.
Was it which one? Which was the ones that
dystopian?
Yeah.
So this really surprised me. The number of books you need to sell to be the number one in the dystopian category is 15 times higher than in the techno thriller category. But if you're in the top of either of those categories, you're going to have that bestseller badge.
The little orange guy.
The little orange badge on your book. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's actually kind of this like game that you can play with your categories, where like most people don't buy books from the categories. You know, like they don't go to the category and say like, what are all the techno thrillers? Okay, I'm going to buy this one. But it's a strong like social proof how highly ranked you are in your categories. And if you have the little bestseller badge, then that is really good social proof as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they were recommending a couple of those changes before the book comes out that went ahead and implemented so that it could try to nab that badge on the first week.
What did they suggest changing it to?
The final ones were techno thriller. Let's see, I got the email right here.
So what did they suggest changing it to, and how do you get that info on what it takes to sell?
That's a good question. I want to ask I'll fix that later. Um,
That's good.
no, like somebody just emailed me because they somehow got 2 copies of the book.
Oh.
And this isn't the first person who told me this.
So did UPS screw up?
Well, no, because I must have shipped 2 of them. And they both have the same tracking number. So I wonder if Shopify accidentally printed 2 labels, or if
Yeah, something.
I must have gotten something wrong.
Yeah.
The other person who got 2 is Billy Oppenheimer.
Oh.
So
That's easy.
Yeah, I'll ask him to give one to someone. But let me see. Let me find this category thing. Okay. Okay, so I had it in hard science fiction, post-apocalyptic, and dystopian.
Mm-hmm.
And hard science fiction and post-apocalyptic, they said it was about 120 sales to reach number 1. I don't know what time
In
frame.
a day?
I don't know what time frame that is.
I think Amazon does daily.
It's probably a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That feels approachable.
Yeah. But then dystopian was 1,400.
That's more difficult.
That's a lot.
That's a huge difference.
Huge difference. Yeah. And I think it's because there are all of these books in the dystopian. Honestly, the dystopian category one right now is probably the new Susan Collins Sunrise on the Reaping book.
And also, if you think about almost all fantasy and sci-fi, none of them are set in a utopia.
In a utopia. No, that would be boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the ones she suggested were techno thriller.
Yeah. No offense. I don't see either of us outselling 100 games.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Give it a few weeks.
Yeah,
Give it a few weeks.
exactly.
Come on.
Exactly.
So she suggested techno thriller, which is 35 sales to number 1. So I mean, that's like guaranteed. That's definitely going to happen. And then knock on wood. And then science fiction, metaphysical, and visionary.
Okay.
Is 28 sales to number 1.
Yeah.
And I actually love that category name because that is actually the category where somebody might go to the category to look for books.
Yeah.
Like I would go to that. Like I wouldn't go to dystopian to look for some new dystopian fiction. It's too broad.
Yeah.
But metaphysical and visionary sci-fi.
It also kind of blends your interest in philosophy and whatnot.
Oh yeah,
really
no,
nicely.
it's a perfect category.
Yeah.
I think I didn't even notice it was there maybe when I did it the first time. But yeah, and then only 28 sales to number 1. So by slotting into those 2 categories, I think it gives it the best initial shot. And then I can always switch out to a harder one later.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a fun optimization thing.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'll have to do a lot of research for that for me because I imagine stuff like coming of age fantasy. I don't want to compete with The Hobbit.
It's probably 10,000 sales in a day. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're tweaking that. Going to do a launch week Kindle discount.
Mm-hmm.
So I think during launch
Makes
week,
sense.
it'll be $1.
Yep. Just get it into as many hands as possible.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Get into as many hands, get as many reviews as possible. Just spread it.
Yep.
And then that'll go away after a week. And then I'll just be selling.
Yep.
And I got to figure out how to get it to keep selling.
Yeah. I mean, that's
for the rest of my life.
Yeah. That's a challenge. That's probably the biggest challenge is, okay, like launches are more straightforward.
Yeah.
Evergreen sales are hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true for almost any product.
Totally. And that's the nice thing about doing a series or
True.
like building a world is that each book markets the other books,
Yeah.
right? So The Birth of
100%.
Paradise will come out probably around Thanksgiving, and that's another like boost to Husk, and Husk will obviously help with that one.
And then, book 2 this time next year.
Yeah,
boom,
exactly.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah. The other interesting thing I noticed is Crypto Confidential sales are up.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I assume because of Husk is, sending people to my author page and whatnot, and then they're seeing like, oh yeah, maybe I want to read this too.
And it's semi-adjacent to sci-fi, honestly.
Yeah. And I guess the market's up too, so that might be bringing back some of the crypto
Bitcoin's
interest.
at like 105 or whatever.
110 yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah.
New all-time high.
That's wild.
Yeah. So that could be part of it as well. It was like top 100,000 in books again, which it hasn't been for a while.
Nice.
Like, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, the weird thing this week has been that there just like hasn't been that much else to do besides getting the books out.
Yeah.
Because at this point, I'm not really going to reach out to other influencers until there are some reviews on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's going to just be a lot more effective hitting up an Instagrammer in 2 to 3 weeks than hitting them up right now.
For sure.
Because right now, there's no proof behind it.
Yeah. Hey, we moved 1,000 of these by into launch week.
Yep.
Reviews starting to come in. They're
Check
looking
out the
good.
reviews. Maybe you want to grab a copy. Yeah. So honestly, just trying to get my own Instagram and YouTube back on track.
Yeah.
Which I feel like I say every week.
Yeah,
But
I do too.
Yeah. But I actually started it again yesterday.
Yeah.
So that feels good.
Should we do Cut 30 together in June?
Maybe. Yeah. Because that might do it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for freaking Austin real estate.
Yeah.
It could
Yeah.
be crush.
That's why I asked you about it.
Yeah.
Is she's thinking of doing it for growing her real estate account.
Yep.
So.
One of the guys is in Austin. Great dude.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex Garcia.
I feel like I recognize that name.
Yeah. Really nice guy. I like him a lot.
Great. But, and the Between Drafts YouTube has been having a really good few weeks. We had our most popular short ever on Monday. Let's go. Yeah, like 5,000 views. It's kind of cool.
That's a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot
Yeah.
for a new channel, So, things are coming together.
Is there so nothing you're really scrambling on during the last couple of days here? Or?
No, honestly, if anything, there's just like a guilt feeling like I should be doing more. But there's not really anything else for me to do right now.
So let's say we're the day before launch. What are you doing, but what are like the outputs for before it goes live? Are you tweeting, Instagram, all that? Like, what are those outputs? Yeah,
I think I'm just gonna be a manic on news. I'm gonna just beat the shit out of my newsletter probably.
Makes sense.
Just send a ton of emails through that week.
Will you use Substack for that or Kit?
I'm going back and forth. I might use Kit
just to get the tracking.
For better tracking.
Will you send it to the same Substack list?
Yes.
Yeah.
Same email list.
Yeah.
Just through Kit instead of Substack.
That's what I'm thinking too, is Substack for regular emails and then either Beehive or Kit for marketing. Yeah,
I think Substack for like articles.
Yep.
Something that you want to be shared. But I did my 1 week left of my last call emails for the Preorder bundle through Substack, and it just felt weird.
Yeah, that is weird. It's not a marketing platform.
No, it's not a marketing tool, and seeing it on my Substack feed feels wrong too. It's like that doesn't belong there. It should just be the articles. So I'll probably just use Kit, and again, like you said, for the tracking.
Yeah.
So I've got to reconcile that. But I've already paid for a year of Kit for up to 50,000 people. So I might as well use it.
Yeah, for sure.
They got me with the annual pricing.
Yeah.
So I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
Didn't realize it until I looked at my business.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is, it's my fault for hiring a contractor to help and not watching that part of the process too much. And then I looked at my credit card was really high all of a sudden. I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
A $2,000 charge from Kit. And so I was about to go email them and be like, hey guys, no, I only want monthly, not yearly. And then I said, actually, maybe this is good because now I have this incentive to get the most out of it over the next year and actually try this. And I care much more about using the email list to drive book sales than I care about growing the Substack as much as possible.
Yep.
So I think I'll do that. But yeah. And then just posting more reviews and stuff as they come through, making videos of how it's going. People seem interested in the how it's going videos. Behind the scenes. And I've been just trying to reprogram my desire for everything to go viral on Instagram and YouTube. It's it doesn't need to.
I have found the Substack Notes app to be helpful for me for that because things move super slow there. And it's actually really nice. In Twitter, on Twitter, if it's a banger within
10 minutes.
4 minutes. Yeah.
It is a little demoralizing. I made a video yesterday and I posted it on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and Substack. And Instagram is 2,000 views, Twitter, 3,000 or 4,000 views, YouTube, 2,000 views, Substack, 15 views.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's fine.
Never mind.
Yeah. But it is pretty, I think, qualified viewers on Substack at least. So
yes,
that's a plus.
Yeah.
And I'll keep doing it because I have seen some videos do very well on Substack Notes and get crazy viewership. But
yeah. So launch day is probably more the same.
Yep.
And then pricing, you'll do the deal on the ebook. Will there be one for paperback, hardback, or anything, or just
no, those will just be fixed. But Amazon periodically discounts things.
Yeah.
So
Without you knowing.
Without you knowing, yeah, and you don't control it, and you make the same amount either way, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But they might do discounts. I hope they do because it's like, hey, yeah, sure, like less money in Amazon's pocket.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll just be doing a lot of posting, and then I feel like once that week calms down, then I start to get into, okay, what does the long tail for marketing this look like? And I think it's going to be more of this.
How does this last week compare to when you did Crypto Confidential?
Honestly, I remember feeling the same thing. Feeling like I think I should be doing something, but there's basically nothing else for me to do at this point besides wait. And I'm posting on Instagram and Twitter and stuff about the book leading up to launch, and that's helping, that's driving sales, but no like big things.
Right.
Because I think to me it's like if I'm not producing content or reaching out to people, then I'm not doing stuff. And there was a lot of outreach leading up to this point, and now like there's no point in reaching out to anybody right now because I can't like schedule a podcast and get it out next week.
Yeah, especially on a podcast of any size, it's gonna have its
2-3 week lag at least. Yeah. So that stuff, it's just gonna make more sense to start doing again in a couple of weeks. And same with sending books to book influencers and whatnot. And then just like keep working on the next book.
There you go.
So I've been working on Birth of Paradise this week mostly. Just editing. Yeah, just editing, getting the last draft of it done. I think I'll have a final draft, or not a final, I'll have a semi-final draft like tomorrow or early next week. I guess I should finish it tomorrow or Monday because Tuesday I'm going to be busy.
Well, you might not be, apparently.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe
you might actually want a distraction.
Yeah.
Just staring at graphs all day of numbers.
Should we do like a live stream or something on Tuesday?
Maybe it's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
actually, I think maybe so.
We could do something live on X. We have the most followers there.
Yeah,
we could talk about it. We'll text.
That could actually be a good marketing.
Yeah,
even just 100, 200 people on there, and if half of them buy.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
It's a good idea.
If you're up for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, try to get that draft. And then I have until baby is born to keep editing the novella. And I don't know if I'll use all of that time because I think after these edits, it's going to be pretty good to go. So what I might do is finish these edits, send it in to start production, but then still send it to another like 5 or 7 beta readers.
Absolutely.
And because I can still change things even after I send it in.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I think at that point when you're feeling good about it is when to send something to more beta readers. Like the first round, it's whatever, 2 or 3 people who you really trust. And then second round, it's like, all right, let's spray and pray.
Yeah. And just see if anything meaningful comes back. Because, I mean, it feels really good. Like, it's pretty solid, especially after I make the changes that I'm making. And so I almost wouldn't want to tweak it too much, but if there are little things that anybody points out, then I might want to change those.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then paternity and work on Husk too, and maybe work on Secret Project. I don't know. I really want to work on Secret Project, but
it's a good idea.
After resist the urge a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. There's no rules. So how are we doing on time? We got a few minutes. What's new in your book world?
I talked to the editor.
Oh,
he's
great.
Getting everything back by the end of the month.
Okay,
so
cool.
That's within a week
and a half.
And a half. And that's the main thing. Started edits on the novella, so I feel pretty good about it. So I'll probably do what I'm thinking is, I think this is very similar to what you did, but one pass on edits, send it to a few people, get those back, go. Paid newsletters going well, up to almost 100 paid subscribers.
Awesome.
I haven't super pushed it, so we'll see how that goes, but I enjoy it. And it kind of hits different when somebody pays you directly for the writing instead of like a brand doing an advertising deal, or even like working with a client or somebody buying a course or something. Like
totally
having a paid subscribers, like, oh, like that's Cool.
You actually like me for the thing that I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, wow. That, yeah. So I actually wish I had started that 6 months ago.
Cool.
It's
Good endorsement.
Yeah. I think it's the paid move is good. And I'm excited about it. We should figure out your cross post.
Oh, yeah.
For Husk.
For launch week.
Yeah. So maybe next Sunday.
Cool.
And then if you want to do a workshop the week after.
Oh, that'd be fun too.
That could be actually a good marketing event.
Okay. Now I know what I'm doing after lunch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
I think that could be a pretty good marketing thing.
Yeah.
Similar to the live stream.
Yeah, I'm down.
If you get 25, 50 people on there and half of them buy the book, you're the bestseller in metaphysical sci-fi or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Metaphysical and visionary.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. Let's do it. It'll be fun. Cool.
Yeah. So I think our goal for the next week or two is get you #1 on metaphysical sci-fi.
Let's go.
Metaphysical
Get that bestseller
visionary.
tag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's. I think the social proof's actually huge.
Oh yeah.
Especially for a self-published book.
Yeah. Agree. But 306 copies sold so far before launch. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that.
And that's bundled too.
Yeah.
So you could argue 900.
You're right. I could. Well, 750 plus. I could argue 800.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is it not times 3?
Well,
I see.
60 of those are Amazon pre-sales, which are not bundled.
Yeah.
But 250 are the bundles. So yeah. So excited to just get it out there.
So Husk is out.
Yeah, Husk is out. If you're listening, go see if we're #1 in metaphysical and visionary sci-fi.
Exactly.
I hope so. I guess it will have been out for a week now, so a lot of this stuff will have already happened. And next week we'll talk about how the actual launch went.
Yeah. Perfect.
Awesome.
All right, let's wrap up.
See you guys next time. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Buy Husk. Subscribe to Nathan's newsletter. Links are right below.
Mainly by Husk.
Mainly by Husk. I feel like the last month has just been all like promoting that. And then when we get to yours, we'll just all promote Nathan. And we'll just we're going to be switching off, who we're trying to juice each month.
Exactly.
Good stuff. All right. Thanks, everyone.